Hey everyone, today I want to tell a real story from the trenches of working with a family as a confident life coach and clinical hypnotherapist. I spoke to one of my clients today, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you a story about a family, a child crying, how a child can use crying to get what they want, and how to turn it into a fantastic, teachable moment that teaches children self-regulation and self-esteem and autonomy and all kinds of creativity. So, what's up, everyone? Melissa Boher Jacobson here, clinical life coach, clinical hypnotherapist and life coach, and the founder of the Dissolve Anxiety Protocol, a highly effective program designed to help you and your family rapidly and permanently dissolve anxiety so that you can be freed from the prison of anxiety and have freedom to have all the success that you desire in your life. So today I was speaking with one of my clients, and I know that this is a dad with 3 fantastic children, one of whom is an adorable 5-year-old boy. And this little boy has gotten into the habit that whenever he cries, he expects a big giant hug, which is adorable and seems great. But unfortunately, the lesson in that is that whenever I cry, maybe I can get what I want. And also, if I cry, I can get a hug. And that doesn't teach him anything about self-regulation or self-soothing. And it doesn't really give him, not only does it not teach him how to feel more confident and more powerful, it's also going to lead to a lifetime of habit around using maybe crying or guilt or codependent behavior later in life when he's an adult in relationships that might not be such a great thing. So what typically happens in families is there's often a conflict between parents about how to handle children's emotions. And a lot of people, as I mentioned in a previous video, a lot of people have beliefs about crying. We, in our culture, we're taught that crying might be a sign of weakness, or that crying could be a sign of something wrong, and we want to do everything in our power to prevent our children from crying. Stop the crying. Crying is bad. But the truth is that crying is literally and figuratively one of the best ways to release and relieve stress. And if we look at tears in a microscope, we see that inside those tears, those emotional tears, is stress hormones and growth hormones. So we know that when we cry emotional tears, we literally are releasing stress hormones, and that's good for us to get those stress hormones out of our body. Well, back to the story. So this little boy's mom would, whenever this little guy would cry, she would always swoop in and grab him in this delicious, lovely hug. So being a smart little boy, he came to expect that all he would have to do was cry, and he would get attention from his mom, and he would get a big hug. And then he started to expect that from other members of his family, which seems kind of harmless, but actually it really isn't. So what I taught the dad today, because the dad is more of a disciplinarian, more boundary driven, and the dad doesn't want to respond to the crying with a hug, because sometimes the crying is because the child doesn't get what he wants. And so the dad, and I'm sure the mom too, want to teach the child that you don't get what you want by crying. So the tip that I gave the dad today was to say to the child, because what happens is the child will start crying, and then he'll say, "Huggy," expecting as soon as he starts crying to get a hug, because that's what the pattern that he's been taught. So I taught the dad to say, "I would love to give you a big hug. And when you've finished crying, I will give you a big, giant hug. And we can expect that it's going to take a little while for the child to adjust. But if we're consistent with that pattern, within about 2 weeks, that child is not only going to stop crying to get what he wants, he's going to stop expecting that every time he cries, he gets a hug. He's going to learn to self-regulate and self-soothe, and he's going to feel empowered when he starts to feel like, oh, I can stop crying when I want to. And he gets a nice big hug as a reward for self-regulating and self-soothing himself. And he can also learn that crying is not a way to get what I want. So instead of crying to get what you want, the parents can teach him to ask for what he wants or to do something else, and then he can get what he wants. And this is really a fantastic way to teach a child self-regulation, self-soothing, and also we're teaching them something called executive function skills, which is developing their brain to self-manage their emotions. So this is very empowering, and this is an example of some of the kinds of coaching that I enjoy teaching my family clients. If having less anxiety in your family is something that you are seeking, feel free to get on a free call with me at www.meetwithmelissa.me and find out more about how I work with families. And feel free also to sign up for one of my free classes at melissasclass.com and find out more about how you can use some of my strategies to help your family dissolve anxiety. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.